What if I told you there's a place where nudity isn't just normal, it's power? Where the human body, uncovered and unashamed, is celebrated, not censored. Deep in the heart of Africa, tribal communities exist that live without the shame of clothing. But here's where it gets controversial. What outsiders call tribal sex isn't what you think. Is it erotic? Is it sacred? Or is it something we've completely misunderstood? Today, we're diving into the shocking truths behind the tribal sex life you've never been told. Uncovering the myths. Naked tribe. Tribe sex. Topless girls. These phrases dominate search trends, but they barely scratch the surface. There's a misconception that these African tribes are openly sexual, erotic, or primitive. But is that truth or twisted fantasy? Let's start with the Himba of Namibia, often shown topless in documentaries. Their nudity isn't sexual. It's traditional. The red ochre they apply to their skin is not makeup, it's spiritual. Their bodies tell stories. But online, they've been reduced to thumbnails for tribal porn. What about the Trobriand Islanders, often labeled as sex positive? Yes, young people have more freedom in relationships, but it's not the free-for-all Western media depicts. These are cultural systems rooted in values and meaning, not scandal. To live nude is not to live lewd. The spiritual side of sex. In many African and indigenous tribes, sex isn't something dirty, it's divine. For the Dogon people of Mali, sexuality is tied to the cosmos. Rituals that appear intimate are symbolic acts meant to align the people with the universe. It's less about pleasure and more about purpose. In some Bantu-speaking tribes, fertility dances, often involving partial nudity, are performed to honor ancestors and invite blessings. To them, the body is a vessel of legacy, not shame. So when you hear tribal sex life, what's really being described is a spiritual connection that transcends mere physicality. It's the kind of intimacy that doesn't belong to the bedroom, it belongs to the village. In the West, sex is hidden. Here, it's honored, where nudity means strength. For many tribal women, nudity is not vulnerability, it's visibility. It's saying, I have nothing to hide. Take Naima, a Himba mother of 4. When asked why she doesn't wear a shirt, she replied, "Clothes are for those who fear judgment. We were born this way, so why cover truth?" This boldness is echoed across cultures. In the Karubo tribe of the Amazon, both men and women live nude, but their lives are rich with ceremony, protection, and pride. There's no fetishization from within. The shame we associate with nudity? It's imported. To be nude is to be free. To be ashamed is to be colonized. The most misunderstood rituals. Let's talk about the so-called sex ceremonies. Yes, they exist, but not as you imagine. Among the Samba people of Benin, symbolic unions are sometimes enacted publicly to represent harmony between male and female energies. They are sacred displays, not sex acts. Outsiders, however, film them, clip them, and label them as tribal erotic content. In Ghana, the Krobo Daipo ceremony marks a girl's passage into womanhood. It involves dance, music, and symbolic, embracing nature and intimacy. As we step deeper into the heart of these remote communities, we quickly realize that the human body is not hidden or shamed here, it's simply part of life. Nudity in many of these tribes isn't a scandal, it's a statement of freedom and connection with nature. For countless generations, clothing was either minimal or entirely absent due to climate, tradition, and a different sense of modesty. Here, bodies are celebrated as natural, not something to be covered out of embarrassment. It's not about sexual provocation, it's about practicality and ancestral heritage. Gestures. But the West calls it a topless rite, often ignoring the spiritual essence behind it. When these clips go viral on platforms like YouTube or TikTok, they lose their soul and gain shock value. We're seeing rituals without understanding them. What you call porn, we call purpose. The role of sex in daily tribal life. In many tribes, sexual relationships are openly discussed, respected, and celebrated. There's no taboo around sex education, it begins young and it's community-led. Elders, not YouTubers, teach youth about boundaries, pleasure, and responsibility. In the Trobriand culture, love and sex are not moral battlegrounds. They're natural parts of life. Topless girls, nude tribe rituals, and expressions of intimacy are not performances. They are part of social development and bonding. No shame. No stigma. In tribal life, sex isn't whispered. It's woven into the culture. The Western lens versus tribal reality. Let's be honest, the West has turned these cultures into content. Search terms like African porn, tribe sex, and nude tribe girls spike every year. But who is controlling that narrative? Documentaries focus on the body but ignore the beliefs. Photographers snap topless girls but forget to ask their names. And so, an entire way of life is reduced to fetishized footage. Viewers walk away aroused or shocked, but never informed. Their reality becomes our entertainment, but we never give it context. Love, marriage, and relationships. Contrary to sensational stories that often paint tribal sex lives as wild or reckless, many of these communities have deeply rooted values around love and commitment. Courtship rituals are common, often involving dances, songs, and symbolic gifts. Marriage is more than just a personal union, it's a community affair. Families and elders usually play an active role in approving matches, ensuring alliances strengthen the tribe as a whole. Fidelity, respect, and partnership are core principles. In some tribes, young people are educated openly about intimacy. Elders pass down knowledge through storytelling, not pornography or secrecy. This creates a culture where sex is not taboo but treated with honesty and reverence. So now that you've seen the real picture, what will you do with it? Will you keep clicking naked tribe videos expecting erotica? Or will you start seeing them for what they are? Cultural documentaries, windows into ancient ways of living, loving, and surviving? Next time you hear someone say, tribal sex life, ask them, whose story are you really telling? Because behind every topless girl is a mother, a healer, a protector. Behind every naked tribe is a civilization, a belief system, a legacy. Let's stop confusing nudity with indecency. Let's stop turning sacred traditions into sex tapes. If this video made you see things differently, give it a thumbs up. Comment your thoughts. Do you think we've misjudged tribal life? And don't forget to subscribe. We've got more real stories that challenge everything you think you know. Stay curious. Stay human. Stay respectful.